Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all.
Welcome everyone. I'm so glad to have you here. You know, we are doing so much in this world today. So I just want to welcome you all to this week's Move Around with Deborah as we bring you stimulating conversation, although you have to indulge in that conversation. And this month is September National Preparedness, National Suicide Awareness, and national, a whole lot of other stuff going on month. Before we go any further, I want to introduce to you our CFO, CEO, our executive director, our all-around person, Ms. Naima Latif, who is orchestrating this. And actually, I hope that we can hear some of what's going on with another function that we want to share with you. Of course, we talk about it each and every time we come on the air, HWPL, which is the World Health Organization. Naima, do we have a topic or a recording we can share right now? I think they're live though, right?
They are live now, and for our audience, just to give you a little bit of background, HWPL, which stands for Heavenly Culture, World Peace, Restoration of Light. Every month they gather together leaders and activists in various religious communities, spiritual families, those that are guiding us toward an understanding of peace through their various faiths. And today they're having a special presentation and they would like us to share it. And so bear with us a moment as we seek to bring in and share this screen presentation of HWPL. The Chicago office is hosting this. And of course, as a world organization headquartered in South Korea, founded by Chairman Man-hee Lee, this is a group that has chapters all across the world, and the chairman has gone to the many various leaders of governments to encourage them to all agree to adopt these articles known as the DCPW, the Declaration of Peace, Cessation of War. And once all the leadership can agree to this, then we can see a change in our world, because all of the leadership will be in harmony with this objective. And so they've gone through, particularly the religious community, in helping to encourage this stand of peace. And I want to bring in our dear sister of the microphone, Zelda Robinson, Grand Rising, the star. And please share this on Facebook. We certainly want as many people as possible to participate. So let me see if I can bring in this presentation to us now. And let's see. Okay, so we'll stay muted. However, we will see if we can bring in this presentation.
See, we are stars. We are not engineers. If you're wondering what I have on my face, sometimes when you go into places, you have to be covered to protect yourself. And so this is one of my coverings, my international mask. You know, we talk about national preparedness.
In 2021, the International Loving Peace Art Competition was held, in which 5,093 children and youth from 28 countries participated and was able to express their world of peace to their heart's content. Through drawing, our children realized the preciousness and necessity of peace and gave hope by presenting the drawings to children suffering from war and conflict. When we look at our children's drawing with the love of peace, we realized just how important peace activities are On the other hand, in Myanmar, the unfortunate incidents of innocent civilians being sacrificed due to internal conflict are continuing day after day. At the request of the members of the Myanmar branch, IWPG immediately issued a statement to cease the bloodshed in Myanmar and requested aid to the United Nations and international organizations. In addition, we jointly issued a statement with civil society groups around the world calling for the lives of Myanmar people to be protected and all situations to be resolved in a peaceful way. What the people of Myanmar need now is peace. Through this event, I once again earnestly ask that both the government and people stop the violence and resolve it in a peaceful way. Peace families. In order to spread a culture of lasting peace, we must create a world that commemorates peace and not war. IWPG, in cooperation with HWPL, intends to instill the IWPG Peace Monuments in each country to commemorate the achievements made through the World Peace Tours and to reflect the wishes of women around the world for peace. This will help spread peace in each community and urge support for the 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW to be established as an international law. IWPG will establish the International Women's Peace Center so that the heart of peace will grow in community spaces called centers, and the potential to be resources of peace in society will also grow. This will be a solid foundation for achieving peace by encouraging everyone to recreate peace by becoming a peacemaker who can also nurture others as peacemakers. The International Women's Peace Center, which will be held online and offline, will be a space for nurturing talented people who can foster a culture of peace in the region and country by introducing a variety of programs that cultivate the spirit of peace. Everyone, our mission is to create a world that is peaceful and safe. I am confident that if everyone here today work together for the establishment of an international law of peace, we will be able to realize world peace in the near future. And all women in the world, please unite as one with IWPG. And family of peace, let's make a world of peace. IWPG, the 3.9 billion women, promises to achieve world peace together with HWPL under one heart and will. We are one. Thank you.
I was able to see the unlimited potential of all women growing as peace leaders to teach and carry out peace. Thank you once again for that great speech. Now we will hear from HWPL Chairman Mani Lee. Chairman Lee hosted the September 18th HWPL World Peace Summit to bring the world together so that everyone could hear and see for themselves that peace is being achieved. With his practical peace activities, he is proposing a way for all humanity to become beneficiaries of peace. Everyone who pledges to implement an international law and bring religions together are working for these goals with the same heart. We will now hear from Chairman Lee, who holds the answer to peace. Please give him a great round of applause.
Today marks the 7th anniversary of the September 18th HWPL World Peace Summit. I hope everyone has been well and healthy. Due to the emergence of COVID-19, the world is going through a very difficult time. Dear members of HWPL, with not a single person left behind, let us strive together to reach the destination we all hope to arrive at. The heavens will protect us. We have made a great deal of effort through the September 18th HWPL World Peace Summit. As we celebrate the 7th anniversary, it is my pleasure to meet everyone. What is our purpose? It is to bring wars to an end and build a peaceful world to pass it down as a lasting legacy for our future generations. To this end, I have gone on 31 tours across the globe, of which I am sure that you're well aware. To former and incumbent heads of state, chief justices, and speakers of parliaments whom I met during the tours, I would like to express my sincere gratitude. I am also grateful to religious leaders, heads of organizations, and journalists. I visited your countries like a naive child, yet you had welcomed me so warmly. With one heart and one hope, we have worked hand in hand, and I am reminded of those days. On this 7th anniversary of the summit, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome the family of HWPL. The goal that we have will certainly be realized. Today, the world is groaning under the weight of the pandemic, but that doesn't change the fact that God is alive and that all creation exists. Then we, as higher beings, have no reason to be idle because of the situation. Our goal is still the same. While I was on peace tours circling the globe, I held you in these very eyes and your pleading voices in these very ears. What you have said is still vivid in my mind and alive. Until the day our goal is reached, let us not change. What do we always say? We say we are one. We are one. So let us be one and fulfill what we have hoped for. Some of you may know the backstory of how I started this movement for peace. I used to live in a small town in the countryside where my family was farming. When I was a child, I held on to the hands of my grandfather, who dressed in a Korean traditional hat and robe and prayed to God every day. Whenever he did, I prayed with him, holding his hands. Even after my grandfather passed away and I was discharged from the military, I prayed in the field behind this farmer's hut every morning and evening. Why? Because I only knew God. As my grandfather taught me, I knew about God and that He's the source of all blessings, so I always prayed. And something unreal happened. One day, a huge bright star in the sky came down. It was at about 7 meters or so above the ground. There stood before me this brightly shining star, much bigger than me. I was so surprised that I ran into my house. My father was asleep, so I woke him up saying, "A star is here, a star is here." And my father came out and was amazed by how big and bright the star was. He said, in old times, a star will show up when a great figure appears. It seems such a figure will arise in our country too. That star appeared to me for 3 days, and ultimately, guided by the star, I made a promise to God. What was it about? I vowed that I will believe and obey Him, and that I will keep everything that He commands me to do. Now that I think about it, I am surprised how far back in the past it is. That is how I started my life as a person of religion. However, as you have heard and seen, while I was on 31 rounds of the World Peace Tours, have you ever heard me preach religion? I refrained from doing so. To bring peace and cessation of war to the world, I transcended nationality, ethnicity, and religion while visiting various countries. And you have welcomed this humble person with gracious hospitality. What did those meetings boil down to? It showed that we are one. What is the purpose embodied in this slogan, "We are one"? It is to end all wars and to make a peaceful world, to leave it as a lasting legacy for future generations. With such determination and goal, we have met, and I went on global tours again and again for this. Currently, the pandemic is keeping us from traveling, but our goal and the promise made with God are still intact. If the living God is with us, and our goal remains unchanged, what we hope for will become a reality. Hence, under God and the banner of peace, we will together attain this goal. We will do so by being one in heart and mind. When I visit your countries, what do we promise? We promise to be one with "We are one," and pledge to jointly achieve peace. So I met people from all walks of life, regardless of their religious or political affiliations. Also, I promised them that I will hold a peace summit in Seoul, Republic of Korea, and accordingly, the HWPL World Peace Summit was held in Seoul, Korea. What was the vow we made at the summit? Political leaders in attendance, they pledged to work on making an international legal instrument that would ensure a world of peace. But the heads of organizations promise. They promised that they would pour in their efforts to realize peace before God. That is what happened. At the HWPL World Peace Summit, we made these promises before God and all the people of the world. We promised to bring peace and cessation of worldwide. And that day, the heads of organizations pledged that they would keep pressing leaders to fulfill the promises made before God and all the people. That was the vow, and they agreed to do so. If this is a promise made before God and global citizens, then it certainly has to be fulfilled. As long as we're alive, we will keep our promise to God. The pandemic will be over one day, so we should definitely accomplish our purpose and build a peaceful world free of war. This is not a task someone else will do for us, since we are the ones who spoke these words and made the commandment. It is our responsibility to fulfill it in our generation. I am sure that you know. What former and current heads of state, chief justices, and speakers of parliaments have signed are still in the library here. Those agreements that you have signed on that day and hour are still kept as is. So we should not just sit on our hands and look on at the world. We need to achieve our goal. This will not change. Then who will do this work? It is us, the family of HWPL. This is also our mission, and there is nothing greater than this. This world was created by God and handed down to us by our ancestors. Should we let wars destroy it? No. That is not love, but destruction. What we need is love. We should love each other as ourselves and transform this world our predecessors passed down to us into a beautiful place. We should create a world of paradise, make it an unceasing legacy for generations to come. Isn't this what we ought to do? If that is the case, then we need to become one as we promised, as we say we are one. We should come together as one and accomplish our purpose. We truly need to. When I visited Africa, members and speakers of parliaments of 55 countries voluntarily gathered and made a promise with HWPL. It was a promise to turn this world into a peaceful place together. That is the pledge we made in South Africa. What also happened? I went to Australia. There, leaders of island countries convened in one place. They also made a promise, and what was it about? They signed the agreements promising to build a peaceful world and end wars. I still have them with me. Everyone, in this world, people value things such as wealth and power. But what is more valuable is a peaceful, warless world. Without peace, anything we build will be destroyed in the end. This is why all of us need to cooperate and achieve peace in one heart. We should not forget the day of September 18th. Today marks its 7th anniversary. All the vows we made on that day must not be forgotten. The heavens saw and heard us, and so did the earth. It is only fair that we carry out the promise we made before the heavens and the earth. Would there be anything more reasonable or greater than this? What is the pinnacle of modern science? The development of nuclear weapons. They can blow up the entire planet at the blink of an eye. Thus, we should bring such wars to an end and establish a lasting paradise full of life to pass it down as an everlasting legacy. Let us make sure that this heart of ours remains unchanged. I have not forgotten about the HWPL family of peace, even for a moment. With the mindset that everyone in the global community is the family of HWPL, I have been working to this day relentlessly. I'm sure you already know. When we visited Romania on the World Peace Tour, there was someone we met at a Supreme Court. Whenever we made a visit, this person would take us to his house and provide us with lovely meals. He did so every time we visited. I'm still thankful for the kindness he showed us. There were also former and incumbent heads of state who warmly welcomed us, agreed to our proposals, and collaborated with us. How could I forget their gestures of kindness? I was very grateful. What we have to do once the pandemic recedes is to move forward again toward our goal of global peace and cessation of war. Everyone should do so with one heart, a heart yearning for peace. By doing so, we will need to accomplish our purpose of peace and cessation of war in the end. There is nothing greater than this. Once we die, we cannot do anything, so we should act while we're alive. We should do what we need to do while we're still breathing. So I would like to take this opportunity to convey this message. I am not a thief. What I hope to achieve is to make this world a beautiful place like the Garden of Eden. With whom? Together with the family of HWPL. Through our concerted efforts, let us create a wonderful global community. Everyone, let us not change. With God together with us, we should hold His enduring love in our hearts and work with love. Many things await us. When we work in such a manner, God above will send His blessings. And what will be the best blessing? It will be eternal life. If God is with people and the world becomes His kingdom, there will be no reason to die. Would God leave people to die? Why must precious lives end? Let us step up our efforts and turn this world into a paradise where God may dwell. Let us strive for this together with unwavering determination. What HWPL hopes to accomplish is peace and cessation of war. We are committed to this. In this world, there are laws and crimes. If there are no crimes, laws will not be needed. Now, we should create a world where there are no laws or wrongful actions. Then what do we need? Freedom. Freedom is what we need the most. Under freedom, peace and love will flourish in all. This is the kind of world we should create. Don't you agree? It is said that the living God also wants such a world where He could live with everything He created in the world. In order for us to live with God, who created mankind, there's a condition. Everything should be complete. A world of peace, free of sin, a world of love and freedom. This is what we should build. So let us, the HWPL family, take the initiative to transform our world into a new place, and let us do it together. Even in moments I am here, looking at the gifts and pictures displayed on my right and left, I am always with you. When the pandemic is over, you will be able to travel freely, and all these things will be seen and spread across the globe. Please remember this. Also, let us not falter in our resolve until what we hope for is achieved and completed. Let us work hand in hand and never forget that we are one. Lastly, we will end by shouting a phrase from our promise. We are one. We are one. Thank you very much.
All right.
political, religious, and civic leaders around the world are joining HWPL for peace. And the global citizens are globally shouting, "We are one," as peace messengers. Please give another round of applause for HWPL Chairman Man-hee Lee, who declared cessation of war and world peace by bringing together the hearts of everyone he meets. Do you remember the card section performance that touched all of our hearts with its peace message during the first HWPL World Peace Summit? Today's performance will virtually express our unstoppable march forward for sustainable peace. Let's watch it together.
이곳한 전쟁 종식 세계평화 후대의 영원한 유산으로 HWPL 9.18 평화왕국회의 제17년 기념
Well, happy anniversary, I'm sorry, yeah. Yes, the celebration continues. All right. Let's go to commercial break, just a brief break, and we will be right back.
All right, fantastic.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue groups. I am Director Shin-Soo Kim, of the HWPI Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
Yes, that is such an important, impactful, worldwide stat to live by. You know, we talk about national preparedness and national this and national that, but this is a worldwide concern. I think peace was repeated almost 100 times during those different speeches. And that is so important. That is so valid. We do have some callers on the line, and if you wish to join into the conversation, please press 1. If you're on the show and would like to engage and you haven't called in, please call us at 1-515-605-9325. Again, that's 1-515-605-9325. And just press 1 to engage in the conversation that we will have during our time today. We are so appreciative for you being here. And Naima, thank you for tuning HWPL. These acronyms, I tell you, they get me. They had another acronym, IWPA. Oh no, IWPG.
Yeah, that was
That's
International
offers.
Yeah.
That's another one. So
IWPG was Youth Peace Group. So yeah, all these acronyms. We got a couple of remarks here on Facebook. Olivia Mazion and Karina Michelle, Miss Jim. And then of course Zelda watching says, isn't the same organization that hosted the event in Evanston, Skokie? Yeah, where Beloved spoke. Yeah, that was it. This is the one. We were there. Yes.
Yes.
Organization. And she says, awesome video. Yes. So, I mean, they have just been, diligently working toward reminding the world that our mission is to create peace. And that's why we're all here. That's one of the reasons why this show reaches out globally, because we want to change the thinking and change the behavior so that we can change the outcome. And we know that if we can all just talk to each other, we can work out whatever differences we think we have, because we're all the same.
Everywhere. It doesn't matter what language you speak, what clothing you wear, what higher power you address. We're all the same when it comes down to it. We're all people, and I know I'm going to start talking now. So let me come out of my shield so I can better, that is something that I went on a retreat, and that is one of our activities that we put together. We got to put together our own mask, and I proudly wear it. Even though some places that I go, I have to still wear that other thing, which is okay, because I'm protecting me. I know everybody's got their own idea of what's going on in the world. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm protecting me. People in other countries have been wearing masks for various reasons. And I know that I get allergies, I get different challenges, and I don't want anything to come upon me. So I'm kind of glad we started wearing these different
shield. For those people say, well, you can't see my face, you can't see my smile. Well, with a face shield, a clear face shield, you can see all of that. You can see
you can. And it's attractive.
Yeah.
It's attractive. We have to stay in the fashion stance. Wherever we go. That's one of the things when we travel. One gentleman said, I know you're from Chicago because you've got the bling bling and everything. And we've had to tone down and learn how to pack because we like everything matching. You know, females, we want the purses to match the shoes and the shoes to match the outfits. And when you travel, you want to make sure you have everything so you're not without anything. And it became overbearing. And I think about it, I say we roll our luggage now. But remember back in the day when we used to carry our luggage?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. So I will, like, I love rolling my luggage and then rolling on the special wheels. But preparing, we talk a lot during our calls and our activities talking about preparing. You have to prepare for life and how to not get caught up in situations. Well, we're celebrating Preparedness Month along with a Suicide and Crisis Month, which reverts into Mental Health Month. And I think it should not be identified as just one month. We have to figure this out for all year.
Yes.
And it's not just nationally, it's wherever globally you are. Now we have to address though, because it is going to be a lot of space travel.
Mm.
And space travel is going commercial. We have 4 persons in outer space now in a ship that's being operated by a robot. No astronauts are on board, just regular per people. Although there are some trainings and preparedness again that you have to embark on to in order to travel into an atmosphere that you're not used to. Even when we go in a plane, we have to prepare our bodies and what we wear. If we have challenges with blood circulations or things of this nature, we have to prepare for that. So preparation is always around, and I want to repeat something that someone shared with me many years ago, and he's gone on to the other side now, but we love it. The 5 P's: proper preparation prevents poor performance. I
Mm.
love it. Thank you, Derek. We love you. Yeah, and that's so true. If you properly prepare, your performance in whatever in your life will be so much better. It'll be so much smoother. Just imagine when you're not prepared for something, the chaos that ensues. You have to prepare for so many things, and now um, this is another again an identity month that they bring this awareness, but do not let it be just for this month. Please, 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 please don't let it be for just this month. There are so many ways, and FEMA, I am so glad that FEMA, which is, and everybody can go to this website, FEMA, FEMA, at service dot go delivery, oh not go but gov delivery.com. Let me repeat that website: FEMA, FEMA, at service dot gov delivery.com. FEMA does a lot. FEMA does a lot in preparation. Although we always know FEMA as to come out when emergencies occur. Uh, Typically, when weather emergencies or the earth has shifted. I understand there was a shifting in the earth in California, in Southern California this morning, 4.3 And these are some of the things that you have to prepare for. If you live in an area that is prone to have earthquakes and whatnot, are you prepared? Do you have a preparation for a tornado? We happen to live in an area where there are tornadoes. We don't get many earthquakes, but it is a possibility. We're not immune to it. We do in Central America, and when I say Central, I said Central North America, Central part of the United States. We're on a fault line, and we have to pay attention. There are tsunamis in some areas off the coast. I never will forget the time that there was that tsunami during the Christmas break, and I forget what country it's in. It was in, but it was, unbeknownst. Of course, when you have these earthquakes and these earth-shattering situations, we don't know they're coming. If we knew that they were coming, we would. I'm sure most of us would get out of harm's way.
Well, let me ask a question about that. When I think about the population of, say, New Orleans, and they've got horrific weather. They've had hurricanes that have just devastated whole communities, whole cities, and I'm wondering, well, if you know that the weather tends to do this, why are you living there? Why do you rebuild? I don't know. I mean, obviously, when you live in an area where there's flooding, you have to be prepared for flooding. But sometimes people will hear a weather report saying that something's coming, and they act like, no, I don't believe, so I'll wait and see. But it's kind of like, if you make the decision to wait and see, that could be your last fatal decision. What, your opinion, what should people do if whether they're vacationing or they, visiting, and you hear that there's going to be this horrible weather coming that could be devastating, or even like in California with the fires and some of these other states where, the forest fires have just spread. Should people just make the decision, well, let me just leave now, let go of all my possessions or whatever I can't take with me, just let it go, because this is a life and death decision. How do people make that choice to just go, even though they don't want to leave their stuff, but you might not get a second chance to make that decision?
Well, each person, you've asked several questions here. I can't answer why a person's psyche is to stay knowing that there's danger coming. I can just say that there is a reason why people live in Southern California, in the flood areas, or in the earthquake areas, or in the fire prone areas, and these challenges don't happen every day. So the area that folks choose to live in, for whatever reason, they live in there. They are excited. They're joyful about living there. And then we have these anomalies that come along and disrupt things. People want to hold on to their possessions. People don't believe the worst is coming, because just like we here in the Midwest, you and I are in the Midwest, and we hear of storms coming, and then nothing happens. We prepare for the storms to come, and nothing happens. Then all of a sudden, storms, and people want to know why we stay through the winter.
Yeah, we've had some horrible snowstorms here, but you can't even get out of your front door.
Exactly. But we're prepared to stay, and we hunker in. And I remember when we had that bad ice storm, and it laid on the electrical lines, and some folks was out of power during the winter. For extreme amount of times. That's why folks are buying generators now. You're in the business of offering generators, so that's something that people will now invest in their home to save them from moving if in the wintertime the power goes out or in the summertime the power goes out.
Yeah.
But these places around the world are so beautiful. 9 times out of 10% that they would prefer to live in those areas as opposed to live somewhere else.
Mm.
You know, where else can you go where there's not a challenge?
Yeah.
You know, what can you do? So, well, they'll just stay and pray that it's not going to be as bad as it could be. But you have to prepare for the worst. I remember with Katrina was when they first realized, it came to my understanding that they first realized that medical records being housed in one location and that location is destroyed, then people's medical history and the history of their life is gone forever. It's irretrievable. We put a lot of value on material things. And I hope that we can get at some point for one of our shows that we can talk to someone who has lived through the fires of California.
Yeah, surviving a disaster. But now I was thinking, because of what you just said about some things just being destroyed and lost forever, I've begun to email myself important documents so that somewhere in cyberspace, there's always a copy of my birth certificate, my driver's license, my passport, you know, major things that if I lose the physical copy, it's still retrievable. And my hope is that the systems that we've created that store things in cyberspace will always be with us. But I'm thinking that maybe those are some of the things people can do when it comes to making sure that documents that you need that are hard to get again if you lose are still, you have an image of them, like my social security card. You know, now the thing people may have in terms of a fear is, well, what if somebody hacks into my email and they got all my stuff? Well, maybe I mean, it can happen, but if you have one page where you have all of your things, like I got one document that has all my passwords to everything, because you know you got passwords to this thing, passwords to that thing. But if you store it in a place that is not physical, then it's always retrievable. Now, this is just my thought because I've seen a lot of people lose everything in a fire, in a flood, in a tornado. You know, everything's torn up and you're shifting through rubble. You can't find papers. I mean,
and that's dangerous too, because I had a sister-in-law that shifted through rubble in a tornado way back in the 80s. And while as she was shifting, again wearing the mask, she was not wearing a mask, and there was a parasite that had traveled to where she was shifting and looking through her belongings, and the parasite got infected in her, and it ultimately ate her away.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Exactly. So yeah, you know, we talk about wearing masks and how I'm not going to wear a mask for this, that, and the other, but you have to also look at the other side, the flip side, to protection, to prevention.
It's no fun.
It is no fun. So you know, understand where other people are coming from when they are sheltered and they are protected.
Right. You know, I mean, because I do understand how some people, I mean, it's like I remember a debate I had with someone. They were talking about children with allergies and how they had asked the school to be aware of, you know, their child's peanut allergy.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were kind of upset. I guess the school had served something that had peanuts in it, and their child had an allergic reaction. And some people were saying that they should be allowed, you know, they should be allowed to just have their child bring their own lunch and that kind of thing. And other people were saying, well, why don't they just keep their child home? And, you know, and I have had a severe allergic reaction at one time in my life. It actually, I did end up in the hospital. I guess it could have been fatal because I have a shellfish allergy. I didn't know that. It didn't come until later in life. And I ate some fries from a place that had cooked the fries in the fish oil, and it stuck in my chest. I couldn't breathe hardly. I was, you know, laid up for like 2 days. You know, my family was distressed. They finally rushed me to the hospital. They thought they were going to have to do an operation. But, you know, I got through it. But going through that sensitized me to people who might have allergies.
Yes.
It cuts off your breathing. You can't live long. And so it's a real fear when people are concerned about an illness that affects your respiratory system. And if other people have not had that experience, they might not be as sensitive. But you can't ridicule people who are saying, well, look, this might save my life.
Right.
Because you haven't had that experience. So
you can't be judgmental on either end.
Right.
On either end. And that's why I say I protect myself. As far as the peanut allergies and whatnot, the airlines, they have stopped even giving peanuts. You know how they used to give you peanuts? They don't give you peanuts now. They give you crackers and pretzels.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because last flight I took, I missed my peanuts.
Yeah. Well, no, you have to go get your own peanuts now. It is a great concern. I mean, there are so many different allergies to so many different things. And no, we're not going to keep our children home, but you have to prepare yourself, your child. And remember back in the day when I remember when I went to school, which was a long time ago, they used to put the signs with the string and the cardboard.
Oh.
It used to be our names, but you know, I can't have this, that, or the other. You have the signs, you have the ribbons that you can put on. You know, you have a badge for a ribbon. You know, I participated and I've got this award where you could, you know, wear those ribbons as well for identification for the children. And of course, you educate your children. And just because your child is 3, you teach them from the beginning. You know, if you know they got an allergy, you teach them. You don't shield that from them.
Right.
And they can help themselves as well.
Right.
So
that you let them know so that they know how to tell people.
Exactly.
For themselves.
Yeah. They've got to learn how to take care of themselves, because what if you're not there?
Right.
What if you're no longer on this earth?
Right.
And you can't protect them? What do they do then? And
Right.
we have to look at that, because that's real. We have lots of parents that are no longer in a child's life, but that doesn't stop the situation. So we have to prepare it, and that's all part of preparation of life. You don't think that the child is not in tune. Children are sponges for education in their youth. They're sponges. You just have to give it to them and treat them as people. You don't have to treat them as adults, because they're not cultivated yet for adulthood, but treat them as people. Respect them. You know, it's 1 o'clock our time, Chicago time. Yes, I'm in Chicago time. Excuse me, the beautiful city. So we're going to go to our next break.
If you like, I'm gonna see if I can play this video commercial. Let's see.
Great. Thank you.
Let's see if we can make it. The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. Now, remember, everyone, call in 1-515-605-9325.
Now, you've got
to speak.
Yes, you've got some. I'm trying to figure out. You've got a couple of visuals you'd like to share with us, right?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about it. We talked about disasters. What about your financial preparedness? Are you prepared financially for a disaster? You have to put your paperwork together.
Mm.
You know, the financial experts say you should always have at least 3 months of living expenses saved in what they call that rainy day fund, that contingency fund. And do you have that? Do you have your documents, like you said, Naima, in the cyberspace? Where do you have a file in the cloud for your insurance documents, your homeowner's insurance paperwork, your renter's insurance paperwork, your vehicle, of course, life insurance, health insurance? Those are things that you should have set aside too. Are you prepared financially? And I know we're in a world where some are living from check to check and they don't have their finances. But what if you weren't getting anything in? So you always need to take something off the top.
Yeah.
You know, for some who pay their tithes, you pay your tithes, and I truly believe in paying your tithes. That has been a faithfulness of mine, and it has worked. But pay yourself.
And you know another thing,
if you're not making enough to pay the light bill already, pay yourself still. There are many programs around that people need to pay attention to. There's so much money out there for programs that are just sitting there. And if you don't get that money goes back into another pot.
Yes. And you know another
advantage of it. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Nothing I thought about when people first started panicking when the pandemic hit and they were told they were going to have to stay in. You should have non-perishable food already prepared for just in case, you know, snowstorm, anything that happens where you can't leave your house maybe for a whole month, you know, maybe for even several months, who knows? But you should have survival food. You should have non-perishable food. You should have even lighting, candlelight. What happens if the lights go out? What happens? You need to be able to see. You should have an atmosphere in your home where you can survive in your home if something happens and you can't leave.
Right. Solar, you know, I have for my phone, you know, the battery pack. Mm-hmm. I have a solar battery pack for my phone.
Yes. Have those things. Get solar powered things that can power up things that you know you're gonna need, like your phone. I think those battery packs, those solar powered battery packs, those are lifesavers, because you depend on your phone. And then have emergency numbers. We have emergency numbers posted where people can see it. If something happens to me, people need to know who to call. Who are the people that matter in your life? Sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, siblings. Who does a neighbor call if they get into your house and you're laid out on the floor unconscious? Who do they call?
Can they get into your house?
Can they get into?
We lock down ourselves in these homes for security, but what if something happens and somebody needs to get into your home that they don't have access?
Yeah.
Now, fire department got to bust down the door.
Get a neighbor that has a key. You're somebody that you trust. And somebody who can open the door, is accessible. Somebody should be able to get in your home. There have been so many recent cases where someone was found deceased in their home, and they had been that way for a while. And I'll never will forget when I was, living back before I'm where I live now, in the house with my husband and mother-in-law and brother-in-law. And the lady across the street, she lived alone. She was an elderly lady. I think her children lived in another state. She wasn't interactive with the neighbors at all. She didn't even come out her front door. She came out her back door, into her garage, did her shopping, came back into her garage. So she was not even interactive. We wouldn't even notice that she was gone. And then one day it was noticed there was this smell that was in the air. It was horrifying. And it just got worse over time. And then people realized it was coming from her house, but nobody knew her. She didn't talk to the neighbors. So I think the fire department finally had to come and open the door. And she had a couple of cats. That's all she had. They were in there alive. She was in there and she had been dead for 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
And that motivated us to start a block club. We're like, what?
I was just gonna say that's where the block club.
We gotta be connected to each other. We cannot have where nobody knows you, nobody sees you, nobody even knows that you're gone, and you can be in your house dead for 3 weeks and nobody even think, what happened to Miss So and So?
Right.
You can't live in isolation. And
that's the block. Remember you did the alley block connection with your neighbors?
Yes, yeah.
That's another thing, not only on your block, but across your alley.
You have to know the people who live around you, and people have to know you. Your privacy, where it becomes a deadly thing because nobody knows you and they don't know who your people are. People haven't seen you in a while. Nobody feels comfortable coming to see about you because if you're not friendly enough, they feel like, man, ain't none of my business. Or if they hear screams coming from your house, nobody inquires. Be unfriendly. You got, it doesn't pay to be in isolation. Get to know your neighbors, and someone should notice when you haven't been around for a while.
Yes, and when you do get to know it, even if it's a phone call, how you don't come out in the weather when it's extreme, like extreme heat or extreme cold. But everybody can touch bases by phone.
Connected. And nowadays, we got Zoom. That's one good thing about this pandemic. People learned how to keep visual contact with people. So even if we didn't leave our homes, you still saw people. And that's important because people need to know you're okay.
Yes. It's so very important. You talked about having a certain amount of food, non-perishables. Ready.gov/kit, KIT. There's a basic disaster supply kit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So what you do, and this is not only a kit for your home, but you can have something in your vehicle as well.
Because it does happen.
And just put it in a little bin, or a box that's covered, and replenish it, move it around every now and again. But they say to assemble your kit, store in airtight plastic bags, and put your disaster supplies kit in 1 or 2 easy to carry containers, such as the plastic bins or a duffel bag.
Yeah.
Now, it could include, and these are just recommended listing, but 1 gallon of water per person per day for several days.
Wow. Wow.
For drinking and sanitation.
Wow. Yeah.
Food, at least a 3-day supply of non-perishable. Now, you talked about months, and we can build upon that, but this is something basic. Battery powered or hand cranked radio. Yes, a hand cranked radio is better, and you could buy them on eBay or whatever. And it says a national weather alert radio. A flashlight, of course.
Yes, yes.
First aid kit. You can buy the little bottles of alcohol and peroxide and have bandages and those types of things.
Yeah.
Extra batteries.
Yeah.
A whistle. Oh, wow. A whistle to signal for help.
Now that's
So
good.
what if you did fall down the stairs and somebody can hear, you blowing that whistle? That is amazing. A dust mask to help filter contaminated air.
That's good.
Plastic sheeting. That's that plastic.
Oh,
And duct tape to help shelter in place. Moist towelettes, garbage bags, plastic ties. Let's say a wrench or pliers to turn off utilities, because that's something else. When there's a like an earthquake or a tornado or something,
fires get knocked.
Know where your water,
yes,
and your gas shut-off valves are.
Know where
know where they are and turn them off, because they say because those things are left on, it enhances the damage that is done. That gas comes in, you ruptured that gas line, and then there's an explosion and a fire unnecessarily.
Yeah, and you make sure people in your home know, and make sure your children know. If you got teenagers or whatever, or young people, make sure they know these things, because we tend to not tell our children essential things like, they don't need to know. No, they need to know what happens if you're unconscious and they need to figure out what to do. Tell them.
And teach them at a young age.
Yes.
I remember when I used to teach my children safety words.
Yeah.
Very important. Safety words and where to meet.
Yeah.
If there was a fire.
Yes, we're all going to get out of here.
Where to meet. What tree to meet at. To make sure that everybody, and another thing, when you're out and about, where was the last place you saw each other?
Yeah.
That's where you return.
Yes. Yes.
These are things you teach them from an early age. If they're going to be out with you, you pushing them around in that stroller, and they understand, they know how to tell you how to, they work that video game. They can interact with you. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And of course, your cell phone with chargers and battery backup.
Right.
Also, they say maps, can openers to open up the food.
Definitely a can opener. People got all kind of canned food, and it doesn't occur to them to have a can opener.
Can opener, right? I love it when they started making some of those cans where they can pop the top.
Yeah, those are good. I mean, it's good if you have those, but if you got a lot of the old-fashioned cans, you got to have a can opener that works, because otherwise you trying to punch.
And medication. Keep your medication. I know a lot of people use those individual, like week, they store their medicine for the week and those things. That's good. But keep your medication in one container. So if you have to grab it.
Yep, you got all.
And keep a list of your medication on your person, in your wallet, in your purse, or something like that. Keep and when I say a list, I'm talking about the list that you can get from your doctor.
Yes.
Because now they print out the list of all those pages and whatnot. They print that out, and that's good. I like how you can go to the prescription. I remember Walgreens is something that's universal.
Yeah, they can pull up on the computer wherever they are. So
wherever you are, exactly. So make sure you're in a program. I know you love the local patronizing your local pharmacist, but make sure that your local pharmacist is part of an international group where you can get your medication no matter where you are in the world.
That's important.
So again, this is all preparation. It's so much to prepare for in life, but you got time. What else are you doing?
What else you doing?
Yeah, you don't have to have it all right now today.
Right.
No, you can stage it, but do it.
Yeah.
Get busy. Don't wait until there's a problem.
Right.
And then decide, oh, I've got to take care of this, or oh, I should have taken care of this.
Well, just like small children, teach your children your full name. Because if you have a 2-year-old and they get lost, they need to know their name and they need to know your name. Not just mom, dad. They need to know your name, because if someone has to help them find you, they need to know your name. And as early as possible, their address, their phone number. I mean, people stop memorizing phone numbers once they got cell phones, but your children need to know your.
Need to know. Mm-hmm. And like I say, they work those video games.
Yeah.
They have the intelligence. They're sponges.
Yeah, you can
do it.
Teach them emergency things.
Life skills. We don't teach our children life skills, and they grow up and they don't know what to do, or they're following someone else's lead.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened in so many cases. Our children are following someone else because we
did
not do what we were supposed to. And it doesn't have to be a hardcore situation.
Yeah.
Treat the children as people.
Right. I mean, I have a friend,
and they will cultivate. They will know. They won't forget.
I mean, I had a friend. We were in our 30s, and I guess their mother passed away, and they had been living at home. They never married. They'd been living at home, and they were literally lost. They didn't know what to do. Ended up homeless and just didn't have any life skills. And I guess they had a very domineering, parent who just, took care of everything, paid all the bills and took all the, paperwork and everything. And this is someone, they're in their 30s and just literally lost, didn't have a clue, didn't even have a bank account. I mean, had not done anything in terms of their well-being. I don't think they even had worked a job consistently. And I'm thinking, why would you let your grown child be that helpless?
Because they were controlling. And the grown child or the child as growing up didn't prove to them that they could handle it. So they never released that to them.
But you have to make them handle it. I mean, you have to raise your children to be independent where they don't need you anymore. That's the goal of every parent.
Yes.
Why does the mother bird kick the baby bird out the nest? Look, you got to fly. You got to fly. You're gonna figure it out. You ain't got to. You got to fly.
Well, look at here. We have a guest that would like to speak.
All right.
So I'm going to open the mic. Area code 863-816. Welcome to Move Around with Deborah. What is your name and your comment or concern about this topic.
Well, LA, Central Florida.
Hey,
welcome.
Yeah, I like all the points that you're pointing out. For the very last example that you were going through, what mainstream society in predominantly Western countries, but it is even in developing countries, but it's more so in Western countries from my observation, the mainstream educational system and cultural system basically they don't educate people how to fundamentally take care of themselves. If you want to eat, which is, eating food is basic, but most of us don't know how to grow or catch our food. We had to go to McDonald's, we had to go to the grocery store, Whole Foods. That's depending on somebody else. To get a job, if you look at the history of the world, your first job typically would come from your family. But these days, it's go to school, go to college, get this degree, and go work for a Fortune 500 company, whatever. That's being dependent upon somebody else for sustainability. House building, if you look at the history of the world, really only in modern times have we had other people build our homes. And then even banks are really relatively new when it comes to funding. I'll put it this way, a great example. Before, the people who signed the Declaration of Independence, okay, which included Thomas Jefferson, all of them were wealthy people. On July 4, 1776, there was nobody who signed the Declaration of Independence who paid an electric bill. They didn't know what electricity was as we know it today. None of them paid a water bill. None of them had, Thomas Jefferson had a huge estate, Monticello. The first president of the United States, George Washington, I've been in the state at least 2 or 3 times, in Mount Vernon, Virginia, huge estate, very wealthy people. They didn't pay electric bills, they didn't pay water bills, they were not under the municipal system, which basically has you dependent upon local government or local private industries to employ you. So a lot of the skills that we used to have, like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, those guys built their homes using social capital. We want to go to Bank of America, or we want to go to FHA or VA or one of these Brazilian city programs. And all that stuff basically cripples you.
Yes.
From sustainability. Now, just one last example and I'm off. If you take a look at nature, because nature's a great teacher of sustainability, the house rent, and everybody's seen a house rent, the male house rent will build 3 to 5 nests before he goes out looking for a mate. And the female house rent will not mate with that male until she finds one of those 3 to 5 nests to her liking. If it's not to her liking, they're not going to be mating for that system. And if you look at nature, that's overall how it is in nature. But modern man has gotten away from that. We put the sex before, sustainable living. Anyway, those are my comments.
The rats know how to get a woman. You got to have a place to live. 3 of them at least. If you and then she gonna see. Wait a minute. Are you prepared to take care of me? We ain't doing this thing unless you look like you're ready. So I think, like you said,
it's so true. You know what Dr. Debbie said on Thursday. And I wrote it down, and now I can't find it. But she said something pretty profound, or maybe it wasn't Dr. Debbie. Okay. It wasn't Dr. Debbie. It was on Dr. Debbie's show though, and Mama G.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mama D said something about how we look for someone. Don't expect something from somebody who's living at home. Don't expect them to be your saving grace. And they're living at home with their parents. It was something to that. Oh my goodness. I can't find it now, but you hit the head on the nail, LA. Thank you. Thank you. And that's why we have to have this cultural shift.
We have to learn how to be independent, like he's saying. And that makes me think about when the first time I traveled to Tuskegee Institute, we took the children on the college tour with Rainbow Push, and the presenter was telling us these students built this university. They took the bricks. They made these walls. They built this institution because that was part of the training. You have to know homemaking skills. You have to know how to build the place where you live. You have to know how to construct. So these are life skills, like he's saying, that we have lost. How many people built their own home? You get a bankroll and then you hire contractors and all. No. What you do is know how to build your home, how to repair your home. What happens if the door falls off its hinges? You got to know how to put it back. So
right.
If you know how to sustain yourself, then you're always prepared in a disaster. You know how to live. You know how to figure out what's growing in the ground that you can eat. If all the stores shut down, what happens?
You can survive. Exactly.
So
you're able to survive, and you don't have to have that meat. You don't have to kill that cow or that pig. You can live off of the weeds and whatnot outside and be nurtured.
Yes, still survive. So those are skills I think would be more valuable. And if the schools will not teach them, if the schools are still teaching us dependency on others, we must in our home do that homeschooling program where we're teaching survival, teaching. And that's why we've been kind of focusing on learn what's growing in your own yard that's edible, and learn how you can prepare it and make it taste good, and learn things that are medicinal, because great-great-grandma used to know these things. So we need to know how to live. If everything shuts down, we don't panic and go and binge on buying toilet paper. So dumb. But that's what people did, and just ignorance. Oh, what are they gonna do if I can get to the store? Gotta get some toilet paper. So, what really do you need to survive? And these are the things we should have stocked. These are the things we should know how to make, how to build, how to discover. How do you keep yourself
and how to survive without?
How to survive without?
How do you survive
fire? If your furnace goes out and all the heat goes out and all electricity goes out and it's 10 below in the wintertime, how do you keep from freezing to death? How do you make a fire? Do you know how to do that?
Without matches. Or without a cigarette lighter.
Can you get it fast and reflect it in the sun and cause the dried leaves and twigs to burn? Do you know how to do that? Because those are the Boy Scout and Girl Scout tricks that they teach you.
Yeah, get that steel wool and scrape it together, or get the battery and the steel wool. That's why you don't put those bare batteries, in those junk drawers. Because those bare batteries touching metal can spark and create a fire with other things that are in that drawer.
Right.
That's something else to prepare. Did you know that? Did the children know that?
Yeah.
We just throw batteries around all willy-nilly? No, you can't do that.
Yeah, let me go upstairs and get
Can you start a fire with a battery and some steel wool? Do you know what steel wool is?
Yeah, do you even know what it is? Do you have any? If we had things in our household that we knew how to use in an emergency, we would never panic if something happens. If the lights go out and it's cold outside and you can't get to the store and the store is closed down, and instead of us panicking and breaking in windows and vandalizing, we'll know how to survive. And
that's right.
This is what every home should have: lessons on how to survive. What happens if You can't leave this house for 2-3 weeks. How are you going to live? And
How are you going to live? What are you going to do?
what are you
If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, it's mellow. Okay, we're going to take our last break. Oh my goodness, we're just having such a great conversation. Thank you for your input, LA. And then we have other callers on the line. Just press 1 to speak, but I'm going to take us to a couple of commercials so we can see what's going on with the female solutions in our weekly endeavors, because we're here every day. We're bringing solutions every day, and we want to make sure that you are aware of our speakers, who we have available, and just so much going on. So I'm just reaching out, and again, press 1 to speak, and we will be right back.
I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocols to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata. Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed into the swing of things? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with Zelda Speaks for your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit ZeldaSpeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moments of today. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening. What if you could live to be 120 years old and remain active, healthy, alert, and vibrant? Our bodies are made up of cells that are constantly rejuvenating. So if we take proper care of ourselves, we can literally defy aging. Join us every Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to learn about self-care from Tucson Essentials on the Female Solutions Blog Talk Radio Show. Learn how to help your body and yourself feel rejuvenated each day through proper nutrition, sleep, frequency medicine, and many unconventional methods of self-care. I'm Jody Tucson. Join me and my amazing guests by calling in at 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak. We'll help you achieve a breakthrough in your health today. Tune in to Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear great topics and stories on grief and turn it into victory. Join Dr. Debbie Green to listen to stories of triumph and learn how to overcome. You are not alone in your life, and there is hope in the darkest hour. This is your time to learn strategies and solutions to improve your life. It's your time. So join Dr. Denny Green with Soulful Solutions and call in on Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 515-605-9325 when comments and questions. Look to hear from you real soon.
Yes, those are just a few of our hosts. Next Saturday, we will definitely have Mama D on the line, bringing some provocative conversation. I'm not quite sure what the topic will be, but trust and believe. It is going to be full of information, valuable information about your history, our present, and where we have to go from here. So make sure you tune in next Saturday, as with every Saturday, each and every Saturday, even the fifth Saturday. We got some juicy stuff going on. And of course, every day we try to bring you some type of solution by the female solution. Now, just because it says female solution, we do have input from our men. So on Wednesdays, we definitely have a setting for our men. But every day, men, you can tune in and share the valuable information that you have to us so we can go forward in this world. And as they spoke about earlier, HWPL, peace. I read an article. I got kind of concerned when I first saw the caption today, that France was recalling the ambassadors from the United States and from Australia. And I'm like, oh my God, they're shutting down the walls because, we still can't travel to other countries unless there's specific reasons. And then I found out it's not because of the medical situation that we're experiencing, but it's because of some kind of submarine challenge that the United States and Australia has gone against France, and now I don't know if a lot of people have heard about it. It hasn't blown up yet. But that's just a little tidbit, and I thought about the conversation that we were having with this morning or this afternoon, the first beginning of the show, about peace, how we have to come together. And peace, we're not going to agree on everything. We're not going to agree on a lot of things, but we have to find some way to bring more cohesiveness and peace and prosperity to our world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And with that also, excuse me, we also want to bring recognition to the world crisis that we're experiencing with suicides and mental illness. We want to make sure that everyone is able to express their voice or express their concern before it gets to an extreme where you don't know how. Then you're trying to hurt yourself or setting up ways to hurt each other, and you're just mentally not in tune to be able to handle some things. We understand everybody who is this side has gone through some challenges, even children. They figure what's going on, but children don't automatically know to take their life or to harm themselves unless that's something that they've seen somewhere else. That's not something that you're born with. I don't believe that to be true. Children learn from what they see and what they hear. So you have to be careful as people to understand that other folks are watching you, and things that you say, things that you do will affect others. Yes, I understand it's your body, it's your mind, but sometimes it's affecting others. So be aware of how you respond to things, how you interact with people, and be more kind. We all have our own voice and we all have our own passion, and sometimes our passion for things gets extreme because we're really passionate. But express your concern, express your thoughts, but don't be a hammer in affecting other people because it is a challenge. Take care of yourself and pay attention. We are our brother's keepers, so we have to be mindful of how we interact with others. And if someone is not on your same page, because we're all unique, all of our DNAs are maybe similar, but we're unique. So remember that in your mindset, in your preparedness as you go through life and preparing yourself through life. As we could tell, there's financial preparedness, there's weather preparedness, there's life preparedness, there's nutritional preparedness. We didn't even touch bases on that, but some of the shows that we have throughout the week will definitely touch bases on your nutrition, and you have to focus on that. But pay attention, and if you're having a crisis, a mental crisis, one avenue that I found, no matter where you are in the world, is the Worldwide Crisis Center hotline. Now, I did test the number, so it does work. And that number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that number is 1-800-273-8255, wherever you are in the world. Now, when you first come on this call, you might be in a mental crisis and you got to talk to somebody now. You got to be patient because they take you through a series of, okay, hold on. The first part is for veterans. Yes, they specifically target or see if you are a veteran, there's a button for you to push, and they talk about that right away. I did not realize the extremities for veterans, what they go through, because I've never gone through a war. I've never gone through a challenge. I'm from the wild hundreds, but our war is different than war where I've got to carry a machine gun or I've got to worry about IUD and these types of things. Be aware of the challenges that folks have psychologically, even without war, without living in the desert, without living in another country, in another climate, in another surroundings, what they go through when they come back. I remember one person years ago came back from Vietnam and he ultimately committed suicide. He was a beautiful person, but he couldn't handle it. His family, went through changes and challenges. So be aware of what our veterans are going through. We don't know, but be aware that there's something. So watch those fireworks. That's a trigger. I never realized that until it was brought to my attention. So I hope that I'm bringing that to someone's attention.
I was going to ask you about that because I know this past what was it, 4th of July? Yeah, I guess when they do a lot of firecrackers. And I've had friends that have, struggled with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder from war. And I'm thinking, maybe it's time for us really to, they're outlawed. The sale of them are outlawed in Chicago, but all people do is just go to Indiana and get them because they're legal to sell there. But I think out of compassion for people who have had to be in places where that sound means gunshots.
Yeah.
I think we should choose to not explode firecrackers. That's very distressing when you have lived in a place where you're constantly facing possible death from gunshots. And I would think, rather than people say, oh, it's my right, my freedom. Look, somebody's been traumatized. They've had to be in a kill or be killed state of alert for long periods of time. And you're triggering that memory in them every time you explode a firecracker. Why would you want to do that to people?
Right.
If we can just help people think in terms of compassion, then the decisions that we make will be based on understanding what other people are experiencing and not wanting to cause unnecessary pain and suffering.
Yeah. You said something, and I think I mentioned it earlier. When people say it's my right, yeah, it is your right, and your right, your body. When you have the right of your body to have that abortion or whatever, that's your right, that's your body. But when your actions are affecting others, it's not necessarily just your right, because you're now, what about my rights? Not being affected by your decision on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, like people want my right to smoke. I mean, that battle, before we finally got smoking banned inside of buildings, smokers who were, deep into their nicotine addiction, they were adamant, it's my right to smoke. Yes, but you could trigger someone's asthma attack that could be fatal.
Yes.
So would you want to do that?
And would you want to go to jail for that? Because you can
help somebody because you needed to get that nicotine fixed for a minute. Yeah, and I understand when people are addicted to something and they don't have it, it causes a certain amount of physical discomfort. So that means it would be wise to work toward detoxing your body so you're no longer addicted to that thing that hurts people when you engage in it. You have to start thinking in terms of care for each other. That's what brings peace, as they were talking about in HWL.
Yes.
Peace comes when you care for the well-being of other people. And your decisions are based on, is this good for the collective? Is this good for all involved? Am I doing something that brings no harm to anyone else? When you make decisions based on that, then there's peace because you're not creating anxiety and pain and suffering for other people. How simple is that? But you know what I'm thinking? We have to, when we first raise our children, I think the first trait we should teach them is empathy. How to empathize with the feelings of others. And you learn that, and children are they're already empaths. They're very sensitive and feeling things. And we can teach them, how would you feel if someone did that to you? Okay, you took that girl's cookie because she had two and you wanted one and you ate up yours and now you want hers. But how would you feel if someone did that to you?
Yeah.
Just being able to help them understand so they can make decisions based on empathy, I think we can really begin to change the world.
And even though we missed the mark when the children were younger, we can still do that now for folks that we have access to their ear. How would you like it if someone did that to you? Cyberbullying, prepare yourself for being bullied, because you will be bullied. You will be shunned upon in life. how prepare yourself to handle it in a way that is not destructive. And sticks and stones will break your bones, but words move on. You know, are you really, because you
Ignore.
cut me out and whatnot? Is that really putting food on my table?
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
no, move around. You know, I don't have time for you. Wow, we're getting close to the end. You know, LA, we still have your mic open. Do you have anything you want to share in closing with us?
I'm in learning mode. I'm just listening. I'm in learning mode.
You're learning more.
Oh,
That's a wonderful thing. You know, if you have two ears and two eyes and one mouth for a reason.
yes, you're supposed to hear and watch twice as much as you speak. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, because you can't learn nothing while you're talking.
But I appreciate LA so much for demonstrating how you really can survive with very little. And you know, we've talked about even creating tiny houses for people to learn how to live off the land. And Zelda says daily reports is news, daily news reports people being arrested on flights every day.
Oh, yes.
My head.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Every day. They're not playing.
yeah.
They are not playing. And trust and believe. When I was just my last return from Dallas, right here at Midway, waiting for our luggage, it was a guy that was running on the turnstiles, on the top of the turnstiles,
Oh, no.
hollering about Jesus and whatnot, and there was no police in sight.
Mm.
But eventually, the police arrived, and by the time I got my luggage and got out to the curb, the ambulance was coming. Because clearly he was out of his mind. He was perspiring and just hollering and jumping from one carousel to the other. Like you know, it's amazing, but folks are not functioning properly.
Yeah. So,
And with this masking, oh, they're serious about that.
right.
And if you don't have the proper masking, because it's not just pulling something up over your face, or my shield is not the proper masking. And if you don't have it and you don't want to mask up the way they want you to mask up, they will help you find another means of transportation
You know,
because you're not getting on that plane. And
things.
if you get on that plane and they have to,
They have to argue with you, they'll put you off.
they will put you off, and you will pay for any delays or any returns to the airport. You will be paying for it. They will fine you. That's FAA is doing that.
Yeah.
Not the airlines, not the airport, but FAA.
And
Federal
what's the acronym for FAA? It's the Federal, what is it?
Aviation Administration.
Federal Aviation.
Yes, it's the federal people.
Yeah, the government.
Yeah, the government.
But
Yeah, yeah. You have a lot of different components working in the airport.
and we have to understand that when you are living in a society where a lot of people have to be coordinated, you can't have people just deciding, well, I got a right to do this and that if your behavior is potentially threatening to groups of people, because we've had people that just flip out, you know, and shoot up folks and everything. So there's alert. Anytime your behavior appears erratic, they're going to remove you because they don't know when you might flip. They don't know, you know, if you might get violent. So if you're acting as if you're out of control of yourself, then people will come and control you on out of there for the safety and security of everybody else. And
yes, they just duct tape the guy to the seat. You know, and alcohol has a lot to do with this. It's not only just because.
Have they stopped?
Alcohol has a lot to do with it, and they tell you about they Yeah, of course, they're not serving alcohol on the plane. And if you brought alcohol onto the plane, and you cannot consume it while you're on the plane. They make that announcement.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, they check your bags, so you don't. I mean.
Oh, but once you're on the plane, in the airport, once you're past
buy it,
TSA, you can purchase alcohol, and if you have your little container, your empty container that you took through TSA, you take your containers when you're going through TSA, but make sure they're empty. And that way, when you get on the other side of TSA, you can fill it up with water or whatever beverage you have. And you could purchase those beverages because you got to sit at the airport for several hours just to make sure you're there and on time. Yeah. But people load up, even though it's $15-$20 a drink. They load up. They don't know. And a lot. It has a lot to do with not only alcohol but other recreational substances. So it's time for us to go. Oh, I so appreciate everyone and everything that is done, the support that we have from our team, the support that we have from our listeners. We love you. God bless you all and be safe in your travels. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We've come to the end of our show. 90 seconds. You can hear every show in the archive at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. You can also hear today's show on the Female Solution Facebook page. Go to www.facebook.com/the-female-solution. Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsahamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, Jean, France, merci, 10 seconds, gracias, Italy, grazie, Egypt, shukran, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Niabonga, Senegal, Jerez, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you.
And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
Love you. Great.